Hello, everyone. It's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. So let me make sure my sound is okay. It turned out okay on the last video. Guys, if you enjoy the content up to this point that you've seen, if you're someone who frequents the channel, please make sure you hit the notification bell. I'm on all times of the day and night. I can pop up at 3 a.m. with the show. So please hit the notification bell. Some people say that it's not doing what it's supposed to do. Nevertheless, hit it either way. I have an interesting show today. So I was contacted by a whistleblower who goes to the VA. He's a disabled vet. And he recently went to the VA and he contacted me about what is taking place with regards to the VA. Now, I bring this up because we spend, in comparison to other nations, like this chart, the United States, technically, $611 billion. That's not counting black budget projects. That's not counting, the military stuff inside the country. That's not counting the stuff that people don't see. Just what we see, $611 billion. These are all of the other nations who spend less. Germany, Japan, United Kingdom, France, India, Saudi Arabia, Russia, and China. Now, among these, Germany, Japan, United Kingdom, France, India, Saudi Arabia are allies. So we spend more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 powerhouse nations combined, and 6 of which are our friends. $611 billion with a B. That's on top of, that's not, I don't think, including the $80 billion that Trump put on top of the military budget that Democrats voted to give him. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this gentleman on is because of that $611 billion, that money that's spent more than 8 other nations, 8 other major nations. Are you telling me we don't have enough to make sure that Veterans Affairs is up to snuff? I mean, of all of that money, think of all of that cash. Think of it. Put yourself in the headspace of what $611 billion means. What it means from the standpoint of what you can buy, the access to things that you can use. And this money is, yes, bullets, bombs, boats, all that stuff, yes. But if we tell a person, look, we want you to sign up to defend this country, whatever I may think of how our military is used, you tell a person, we want you to sign up, and we want you to fight this particular war, that particular war. We want you to put you in this shithole nation or that shithole nation. And I'm saying shithole from the conditions that these people are put into. Shouldn't we at the very least be able to take care of them when they come back? And not necessarily skimp on Veteran Affairs in the VA, those hospitals. Gentlemen, could you introduce yourself? And I know we're not using names, but I'm just going to say a disabled vet. You went to the hospital recently. What was your experience, specifically from the standpoint of getting tests done?
All right, first thing I would like to say, I'm a disabled veteran. The first thing I would like to say, you do have some good people that work at the VA, but then there's the people that's over top them that make money make decisions about the money. And one of the things that kind of pissed me off is I had 2 experiences at the VA emergency room. Once I went to the emergency room, I had some terrible pain from some, I think, sciatica. And there was other patients that had their issues, but they had one doctor that at night patrolling the whole hospital that, if somebody was up on the 6th floor or 5th floor and whatever you had to do with them, there was nobody to cover at the emergency room, but there's one doctor. So I would wonder what would happen if somebody, was actually dying in both places, why they don't have more doctors. Then my next experience was Tuesday night.
Wait, just to interrupt for a moment. I know people always say, dude, you're always interrupting. That question needs to be evaluated, though. I mean, ultimately, the question that they're doing is a cost-benefit analysis. The problem with this is their cost-benefit analysis is weighed against human beings, human lives. So it's like, how can we skimp on this? How can we get by without spending a huge amount of cash on this? And fact is, the way they do this is by not hiring the number of doctors that they need for the situation that presents. And look, I'm saying this, I cover European politics also. And they have a national healthcare system. Their national healthcare system takes in everybody. It's not just vets. But the situation is somewhat similar. You have a conservative government that gets in, and that conservative government doesn't want to pay for health care. Or very well, it doesn't necessarily like to. So it likes to privatize. It likes to cut services. I'm saying the United States in a similar situation with the VA, cutting services, cutting doctors, trying to make the process cheaper at the expense of the human beings that are going, like you. Sorry, I just want to put a plug in that because I think that needs to be noted. This idea of why are they behaving in this way? And they're cutting costs. They're skimping on your human lives.
All right, then the next situation that happened to me, I needed some x-rays done that Tuesday night. The x-rays, they took me back there. I got my x-rays done, and I had to wait a whole, almost 2 hours before I could get the results of the x-ray. When in the daytime, it don't take you that long. They have people on staff that would, read the x-rays and tell the doctors what they need to know. But when at night, when you go to the emergency room, they have to send them to Hawaii in another state and wait until these people get back to read your x-rays. Now, why they don't have somebody on staff at night to be able to do these things? They can have 1 or 2 people. They just don't want to pay the money and put in the executive vest at the vast expense.
600.
And honest, that's what this all the VAs. Now, why do they have stuff like that? It don't make no sense. And then I got another one that's
go for it.
Dealing with. Hello?
No, I said go for it. No, go for it.
All right. Then I got another issue, and especially this is dealing with PTSD and black veterans. With PTSD, I hear different rumors that if a person come over there, especially of the Vietnam era, they don't want to diagnose them with PTSD. They'll tell them they got some other mental disease. And from my experience with PTSD and from what I have seen people around the VA, a lot of these people got PTSDs and they just don't want to pay them. And when the black veterans put in for certain things, this is my experience, and a lot of other ones that I've talked to, like dealing with Roanoke, I had a different situation when I joined the military, and it wasn't through battle or nothing. It was basically just being a basic training. Sergeant don't like something you do. They abused me. They tried to kill me, told me they was going to kill me for a month and 18 days. And I was constantly on guard. I didn't know when they was going to take my life. But then when I applied for, I had a service organization representing me. And this service organization, I guess they didn't like the way I got my PTSD. They didn't do nothing for me in the Roanoke office. They just sit there and listen to whatever them people tell. I had to get a military lawyer. And when the military lawyer got my case, the military law gave me 3 of their own military codes. Why was they wrong in denying me? And I had to give a lawyer lots of money that I shouldn't have had to pay if this organization had a job.
Yeah.
I got a whole list of issues if you want them.
I have a friend of mine. I'm
Hello?
not going to tell his name. I have a friend of mine. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? So I have a friend of mine who was in the military during Vietnam. And while he was in the military during Vietnam, he's African American, he's black. He said they would have like firefights, and these people would look up and look around and be like, God damn it, he's still alive. Like openly like wanting him to die during the middle of firefights. So it's somewhat amazing, some of the stuff that people went through during the Vietnam era, especially with regards to the VA. One last thing. You mentioned, you said, in addition to the things going to Hawaii, we spend $600 billion. Like I try to get across this idea of this juxtaposition of we spend $600 billion, more than $600 billion on military. They upped the military budget by $80 billion in a blink of an eye. Woke up one morning, we need to up this by $80 billion. Okay, let's just up it by $80 billion. Fuck it, what's $80 billion? And yet,
But
benefits and veteran affairs, for whatever reason, we like to support the troops. We like to rah-rah the troops. But when it comes down to it, and when you're talking about brass tacks, no, they don't support the troops. They aren't backing you guys up.
But see, Jamal, they got the wrong people supporting me, in certain positions to deal with veterans.
What do you mean? Explain.
One of the things is they have non-military people in positions, don't know what a military person went through or had or dealing with, making decisions about their benefits.
Yeah.
And some of them do it on a racial basis, because that's what a lot of my stuff was, dealing with me on a racial basis. But some of these people, they ain't never had nobody that attempt to go to war. It's just that to defend the country.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think people shouldn't be getting nothing free. But if you sign on the dotted line, and when they tell you, we're going to do this and do that for you, and you sign, you don't know whether you coming back or whatever they send, they should give you what you asked for.
Agreed.
Sign for.
Agreed. And by the way, this is not purely just racial. I mean, I bet my wife and I, and yeah, they may have discriminated, don't get me wrong. But I'm making a point that this is also just vets. This is not purely just a racial thing. Like, I know as an African American, you're interacting with this from this particular context, but I've met people who are white as the day is long, lily white as can be, who ran into the same buzzsaw that you're running into right now. I ran across this homeless vet. The guy was on the street. And the guy said, yeah, I guess I'm eligible for benefits, but he didn't want to go through the hassle of trying to get those benefits. I made the point to him that if you said, I'm going to defend my country, if you said that I'm going to sign on this line, and I understand that defense of country has turned into this kind of war of aggressions, I understand that. But if you say that, and if you do that, then the country itself, who's spending $600 billion, like $1 trillion a year on the military, when you add it up, like black budget projects and everything else, you should be able to take care of those people who decide to sign up. I guess that's why I bring up this case, and that's why I reveal this case to the world, because I look at this and say, this shouldn't happen. If the United States is going to spend that much money on the military, they need to make sure they cover their vets. That's what it boils down to.
Well, see, I don't know, like, one of the things that tickled me, I don't know too much detail about it, but like some of those people, administrators at the VA, they get bonuses by not spending so much money. And they should never be getting bonuses.
Agreed.
For things. They should do their job. Make sure that that take care. And one other thing.
Wait, just to put a pin in that, what you're talking about is an incentive. They've created an incentive structure to not spend on vets when those vets need to be spent on. Like to say, look, if you don't spend on this person, even when this person may need you to actually spend money on this person or resources, that you get a bonus by not doing something that you should do. I just wanted to put a pin in that to make sure people understand what you're saying. They create incentives in the system itself that screw over vets.
And then they got this program called the Veteran Choice Program. Now, I'm going to say for me, doing the stuff that they have over there, it helps some, but it didn't help like a program I did on the outside. I was able to walk better and longer. They won't send me back to that program because they got a pool over there. And this place that I went to had a pool with an underwater treadmill, which was better for me because I could walk for 45 minutes on it without stopping.
Yeah.
I went to on a regular treadmill. I can only go about 2 minutes, and those of you who know me, they know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I can only walk about 2 minutes on a regular treadmill, and it don't make sense for them to. If something helping a veteran, whether it's in the VA or out of the VA, a veteran should be allowed to help get his body clear the best way he can.
Agreed.
Straight out, and not let people dictate what you're going to do and what you ain't going to do. Because there's this one doctor over there one time, I told her I wanted some. She said, it's not our job to take care of you. And when she said that, I said, your military caused the problem. It is your job.
Yeah.
You know, and people like that that's over there.
You again, I said the United States spends almost $1 trillion a year on the military. The idea that they can't take care of the people who come back who made a decision to fight for that country. Again, I understand it's not it's this war of aggression at this point, but it does it's kind of besides the point. They made a pact. You fight for us, we'll make sure you're okay. That was the deal. That was the pact. And now you're getting back in there like, we kind of don't want to pay that much money to make sure you're okay. We kind of don't want to pay that much money. We need to cut corners. We need to cut costs. I understand that this is a better treatment for you, but we don't necessarily want to pay for that particular better treatment. They spend $1 trillion. Like, I'm trying to get across, like, them gobs of money that they spend, they're pouring into this stuff. And yet and still, you come around to this thing of, all right, these people have made the decision to fight for you. They've been injured, banged up, you know, screwed up in some particular way in regards to fighting for this particular country and doing what you said, that you would take care of them if they did. Now it's your turn to pony up. And it sounds like they're saying, oh, man, we don't want to pay that much to deal with this cost. And yet the American public, the politicians will scream, rah, rah, the troops. Donald Trump would say, we're going to have a military parade. But that doesn't, it's kind of missing the point. Those people made the decision to fight for the country. They're coming back, and they're coming back scarred and wounded and injured. Should you take care of the people who decided to fight for the country, coming back scarred and wounded and injured? And I think any American, the overwhelming majority, would say yes. And I think they will be aghast by what the conditions that you and other veterans are enduring at the VA.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Because, you know, some of the stories that I've heard over the years of fighting to get my benefits, it don't make no sense, you know, and some of the stuff that's still going on. I see guys that look like they're in their hundreds almost and dragging around trying to get their benefits, you know, because the VA gives them a little bit here, a little bit there, instead of saying, this is what you deserve, here, take it, and you get taken care of, and be done with all this paper bull.
Yeah, I think this is a travesty. I've seen it in multiple accounts. Yeah, this is a travesty, which is what I kind of want to bring you on. When I heard this case, I said the public needs to know about this. Look, fact is, only I think like 1 or 2% of the public is in the military. During the time where we had the Vietnam War, you had all of these people being drafted. You had all of these people pissed off, pushing against the system itself. Nixon surrounding the White House with buses, scared to death that the people are going to break through and come and get him. Well, once you got rid of the draft, you got rid of that pressure to do something of change within regards to how we deal with the military and everything else. You have 1 or 2% of the public. The point I'm getting at is that pressure for action is not there anymore. Like that pressure for an anti-war movement and all this other stuff, it goes away. But it also means the pressure to actually reform the VA goes away. Donald Trump is putting in somebody who's incompetent, or trying to get somebody who's incompetent in charge of the VA right now as we speak. That person has made the decision not to take that office, but he's not taking the office because it came up on how incompetent he was in the previous position that he was in. Yeah, we don't have pressure on the VA, and only 1 or 2% of the public are in the military at this point, meaning there's a very small segment of the population that is enduring the difficulties that you're talking about. So it's like the only way that the rest of the public will know about it will be to raise that up, to raise the voice and say, hey, look what's taking place in these dark corners of America where nobody's actually paying attention to. So that's why I'm bringing this up. What did you know anything about the guy who they were trying to put up for the VA, the head of the VA?
No, I didn't know anything about him. You know, I ain't gonna sit there and, you know, comment on him because I don't know nothing about him. But if you look at, you really wanted to find out, all you got to do is ask people in there that dealt with them what they was about when they dealt with them. And a lot of, they ain't about helping the VA. They're about furthering their future finances. You know, so you got to look into things like that. And the people that you would recommend, they probably wouldn't put them in a position like that because they know that they would look out for that. And I know a couple of doctors that, you know, I don't know if they're qualified to you know, deal with their stuff, but I know that these people will look out for the vet.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Their primary thing would be the vets come first. We do what we need to do to take care of them, and all this other bullshit is we'll deal with later.
I feel you. Well, I want to thank you very much. I want to thank you on two counts. Thank you for your service, but also thank you for being willing to talk about this and raise your voice on this. It is absolutely appreciated.
Well, it's a pleasure to kind of ease the pressure to get some of this off my mind.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. It's like you decide, you make the decision. Yes, I'm going to fight for my country. I'm going to do what they've told me my entire life is this kind of noble pursuit and duty. And then you get into it, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't want to cover our end of this. Don't want to cover our end of this, either medically or making sure that you have the resources met." Or you know what I mean. So thank you very much. There's one person who's women. Let me respond to this. Why aren't you talking about the Steny Hoyer tape? Rob, Illinois, that's going to be next. That's literally the next video that I have queued up. In fact, I have parts of it queued up right now. I was reading through the article itself on the intercept, so that will be the next show that I do. But thank you, Rob, for injecting that on the video that had nothing to do about Steny Hoyer. Thanks a lot. I'm teasing Rob. Yeah, it's going to be next. All right, guys, so I'm going to end this here, and I will see you guys in another, 15 minutes or so. Thank you very much for coming on to the show. So,
pleasure.
All right, guys, if you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, subscribe, and, of course, you can always support the Patreon. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.